What is going on, everybody? Travis Stephenson here, and in this video, I hope you can tell, I'm going to be talking about microphones. I get it. If you're anything like me, you might be a little bit of a sound junkie. I actually put a lot of time and effort and thought into the way that I sound in any given presentation type. So I'm going to be walking you guys through the differences, why I use and have these microphones, some of the best on the market. If you're looking for a good microphone, you're probably looking at one of these three. If it's for a podcast, if it's for online training, if it's to have a really incredible Zoom setup maybe. And I'm going to walk you through and give you a comparison here in this video exactly what I think the differences are between these three. Now, I will tell you right now, I am not a professional audio engineer. I am not in any way someone who this is what my job focuses on. I will tell you this. I use these mics every single day in some capacity. Whether it's for a podcast or for a training or for a Zoom or for just some sort of online call, I use them all the time. And I'm going to break down why I have each one of these three as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, the ones that I suggest, and we'll kind of just cover everything the way that I would normally. So let's go ahead and start off with this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one down. And at this point, you're going to start hearing only the audio from this microphone. Now, I'm recording audio on multiple different microphones right now, but you're only going to hear the audio from this one. And here's why I got this microphone. Number one, I will tell you that this company makes the best microphones. They're kind of synonymous in the space with podcast microphones. I really wanted something that was going to be easy. I didn't want to have that little transformer box where you have the XLR cable sent into a box behind your computer and then you dial it in from there. It wasn't that serious. You can see I've got one right here that does something similar to that. I'm not using one for this because I wanted a podcast sounding microphone, but I wanted it to be directly into my laptop because I was using this one for my ongoing trainings. I wanted it to be on this particular boom arm, which is attached to the side of my desk. It's smaller, as you guys can see, significantly smaller than the other Shure mic. You can kind of see they're sitting right next to each other. So this one's a bit more compact. I also like that they brought in some new colors. So you can see I got a white one. I think they have a silver one and a black one. I kind of liked that it had some color. It adds some pizzazz to the presentation, if you will. It's got an audio control, which I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it's got an audio control on the actual microphone, which is really something I think is cool. So that as you're going, if you feel like you're being too loud, you can turn the actual receiver down. And if you feel like people are having a tough time hearing you, you can turn their receiver up. I might have just muted it there in the middle too, which you also have the capability of doing. So what's beautiful about this is, again, it has an XLR cable on the back side of it, so you guys will be able to see that. It's got an XLR connector, but you don't have to use it. So you can use it if you're trying to get the highest quality audio. But what I want to do now is, obviously at this point, this is the cheapest of the three microphones that I'm going to be reviewing here in this video. So let's go ahead and transition over to give you guys a very quick example of the sound difference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transition over from this mic to this mic. This is probably the most famous, most notorious podcasting mic that there is. If you started in the podcasting space or audio presentation of any kind space more than a year and a half ago, this microphone was made famous by people like Joe Rogan and other big-time podcasters. They were using this. I can tell you right now, this microphone is phenomenal. I don't know the actual audio terms of it. Is it a condenser mic? Is it a this mic? Here's what I know. It provides the best audio. It provides the densest sound, and it only captures what's really around the speaking space, which I think is amazing. It really helps. If you are doing a podcast, you're not picking up as much of the other person talking in your microphone, so it's coming through very clear without any kind of delays. So I'm a big fan of that. Obviously, this one is XLR only, so you do have to have an XLR connector. In this case, I am connecting mine directly to the camera that I'm filming on. So I actually have a device that allows me to plug an XLR into it. So I'm not using any sort of middleman connector that's recording separately. So all things considered, if you're even looking at this mic, you already know it's a pretty top-level microphone. If I had to rate my favorite, I would definitely say this one hits number one. This is my absolute favorite mic. It's the way that it looks. I think it's a great podcasting mic, and also just awesome for recording normal audio if you wanted to. Now, I didn't always have this mic. This was a microphone that I got after having my first podcast microphone, which what I'm going to do is I'm literally, to show you an exact side-by-side example, instead of just recording the audio from this Rode Procaster, instead of just recording the audio to it separately, what I'm actually going to do is literally unplug this XLR, plug it into there, and then see, so you guys can see the exact same inputs. Because I will tell you, having a separate device like this that actually has power, that can drive power directly to your microphones, it does change the audio quality of your presentation a little bit. Just like the audio quality from a direct USB style microphone without the XLR cables, it's going to be a little bit different. Now, I have had people on Zoom tell me that Shure mic actually performs better. I don't know if you guys use GoToWebinar at all, but GoToWebinar doesn't even allow XLR mics, regardless of the input, into them. So it is nice to have that Shure mic. That one's worked out well for me. I've used both of these mics for basically every kind of presentation, depending on the time frame. But let's go ahead and dive in. I want to actually share with you guys the exact audio sound of this Rode Procaster. Now, one last thing that I will say is I'm also a massive fan of the XLR cable coming up the side of the actual mount itself for your microphone. So it keeps, you obviously have this little cable, but it keeps, it makes it very easy to keep this microphone in a good talking position. I've found that with this one, and this is the mount that Rode gives you with their Procaster. I'm not against this really cool looking fancy device that stops it from, it allows it to shake without banging on anything, so you don't get that reverberation or sound. I'm not against this thing. But what I will tell you is it makes it really hard to mount it, because as you can see, it would mount to this little arm right here. So I would have the microphone mounted like this, and then I would literally have to stand it up. So it would be standing up like this. It's not the end of the world, but the cable then goes into the bottom of this. So let's go ahead and disconnect this one, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. And you can see the difference in sound quality between this Shure SM7B, right? SM7B, and the Rode Procaster, which are pretty comparable microphones. I would say that if you're in the market for a big podcasting style microphone like this, you can obviously sing songs on this. There's a lot you can do. That you're going to be looking at one of these two most likely if you're looking for a mic of this style. So let's go ahead and compare them really quickly. All right, so now you're actually getting the audio directly from the Rode Procaster. I can tell you that the input is a little bit louder than this one. I can just see it on my camera right now that the input that you're getting, without me turning up the audio at all, I'm not going to play any funny tricks on the audio. This is a little bit louder. Now, what I mean, again, before is if I mounted this to an arm like this, my cord is going to be below, right? So it does end up getting in the way a little bit. If you're trying to move around the microphone, it does add a little element of, hey, this is kind of in the way. So what I found myself doing was oftentimes mounting it like this so that it was out of the way and I can still talk into it. Now, the downside with that is now it's in the way of the shot and the presentation, right? You kind of want a microphone that is out of the way, that can be a part of the filming or a part of whatever your scenery is, but not be the main player in it. You can see there, even clearing your throat, if you get away from it, you don't get as much sound, and that's what's great about these microphones. So honestly, it comes down to sound. In this case, I have a very sound-dense room. I have these wooden walls are actually sound panels, and then if you can see on the right-hand side over here, these are actually sound dampening panels as well. So I've got a pretty good sound dampened room, sound controlled room, if you will. And I have tried just about every microphone in here, but if you are looking for a podcast microphone, I can tell you that depending on your needs, you might want a different one. I will say this. I think that this microphone is a go-to for pretty much everybody if you're in a computer setting. If you're trying to record something directly into a computer, I think it's phenomenal. That said, if you're looking for best audio, I think you're going to go with the Rode SM7B. It's the best mic there is. It's the best mic there is for a reason. I absolutely love it. This one is a great starter microphone if you're just trying to get into podcasting and you don't quite want to spend as much as you would on this one. The Rode Procaster did me very well for a very long time. I do think that they need to work on, how they actually set up the plug-in. Versus, you're not going to hear that last piece, versus the mounting situation. I do think that they need to fix that. Let's go back to the Rode real quick, this SM7B, to make it easier to talk. So that's that. That's a full comparison of this microphone, the SM7B, versus the Shure sort of like, it's called the MV7, the Shure MV7, which can also plug into your computer directly. Obviously, this one cannot. So really, the main difference between all of these is if you're just starting out and you don't want to spend as much money as you can on probably, the highest quality microphone, the Rode Procaster is a phenomenal starting place for you. It does come usually with all of this rigmarole here, which is cool. However, 99% of people are probably going to do great with the MV7. The audio quality, as you guys saw, was phenomenal. And if you want the best of the best, just because you want the best of the best, you're not going to find a better place. You're not going to find a better microphone than the SM7B. So that is my full review. I use these microphones almost every single day. I absolutely love them. If I get the opportunity to use this one, I usually do. That said, I do use this MV7 every single day. Never get any complaints about the audio. Thing sounds absolutely phenomenal directly into the laptop. So that is my full review. Let me know if you are interested in any of these. If you end up grabbing one, I'd love to hear the feedback from you. Otherwise, take it easy. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.